Hey everyone, it's James.
And Stephanie.
And it's official.
We have started our quest searching for our next RV.
Yeah, that's what we're doing this outside of Lance so he doesn't hear, hopefully, and start malfunctioning.
Right.
But so we're not like going to get a new RV like tomorrow or anything. This could take a long time.
We've kind of started the conversation. So that's where we're at today, and that's what we want to take you through. We want you to be along for our journey as we start this quest.
Right.
And this is stage one.
Right. So what I usually tell people when they ask me questions about what should I get in my next RV is I direct them to our 8-step program for choosing your first RV is what it's called.
Yeah, and that's on our website. So if you're interested in the 8-step program, you can search for that on thefitRV.com.
Just search for 8-step. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through that ourselves.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of eating our own dog food. Is that the saying in IT? The nerd saying?
That is the saying. You've been listening to too many of my Zoom calls. Anyway, we're going to take you through that, and that starts with step 1, where we talk about who we are, how we RV, and let that inform our process. You ready for step 1?
Let's go.
Okay. Okay, so the first step in the 8-step program is, as I wrote it, stop thinking about RVs. But what I meant there is don't think about like a rig at this point. Just think about what you want to do with the RV, who you are.
Yeah, so like your use case. So that's what we want to do right now is kind of go over our use case or who we are.
So who are we?
Yeah.
we took notes. Actually, we cheated.
But, taking notes is a good way to go through this step anyway for anyone.
All right, so the first thing I have about us is we almost always travel with bikes.
Yes, we do.
That's how we got into RVing in the first place a decade ago with Das Bus, is going to bike events, and we still do it today. In fact, on this trip, we've got 4 bikes with us.
We do, but we had to bring a trailer with us to do that.
Yes.
So, and we'll get to that. We're not loving the trailer, but...
Yeah, but it works.
So
there are usually almost always just 2 of us, unless you count.
Well, Mel, our cat. And that's become a consideration. When we started RVing, we didn't have a cat. And then he climbed out of a magic tree. We have a cat. And so now we have needs for a place for a litter box and just keeping him safe. So now Mel has become a consideration.
Yeah, that's climate control plays into that,
Absolutely.
right? We're going to be able to run the air.
Right.
Okay, I have both of us will drive.
Yep.
Which is true.
Yep.
Extreme weather conditions.
Oh, yeah. We live in the desert Southwest where 110 degrees is the norm
today
in the summer. And we also like winter camping. So,
I love to ski.
And snowshoeing and
So that ability to handle those extreme conditions is important to us.
Mobility is important to us because we never stay in one place for long. So our current trip, we're staying 2 nights where we are now, 2 nights where the last place was, 2 nights before that. So, we move a lot.
Yeah. So we take shorter trips and some longer trips, but even when we take the longer trips, we break it up into multiple places to stay.
Right.
So that's another. So, plan trips based on what we want to do. A lot of times that's cycling events.
Yeah, events, but it's also RV events. We go to a lot of RV rallies and just
shows.
Meetups and stuff.
But on this trip, actually, we planned it around cycling. That's why we have 4 bikes with us.
Yeah.
Is because we're stopping and doing cycling. So that's kind of how our trips go.
Let's see, what else do I have?
Working from the road.
Big one.
Is an important, very important. So I have a full-time job in IT, management. I have to be, most of the time, I get vacation, but have to be able to be online and to be able to work effectively. I can do the job remotely.
Yeah, which is a big bonus to this RV lifestyle of ours. But you need to be connected.
You need to be connected.
And have a comfortable place to work. And I'm an online personal trainer, so I need to be connected too. I need to be able to make videos for my clients. So connection, a good place to work, both important.
Yep. And then the other thing I've got in here is nimble and mobility. So narrow roads, winding roads.
Right. Yeah, we're not overlanders. We're not going off-road, but we do go down Forest Service roads, chasing trailheads for hikes. And so we want to be able to do that.
We also travel into the urban jungle. And if you've ever tried to pull a fifth wheel into a Starbucks parking lot, we saw that once. They ripped off part of his fifth wheel trying to leave the Starbucks parking lot.
Yeah, we want to be able to park park at parking lots easily.
Yeah. And speaking of parking lots, I've got where do we stay? We stay in some RV parks, which, we're not.
That's mostly for work.
Right, when I need to be in town and have guaranteed of connection. But we also stay in some state and, federal campgrounds.
Right,
and
remote boondocking. We kind of do a hodgepodge of everything. There's not one we do more than the other.
Right.
We stay at Walmart when we're on the road.
We stayed at more than our fair share of Walmarts and rest
we
areas.
need that flexibility.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any one of those that dominates over the other one. It's not like we're always going to do one or the other.
Right,
So, all right, so that's kind of who we are and how we RV.
Yeah.
So the next thing we need to do is we need to translate that into features that we need to have in the RV. So that is going to be step, 2?
Well, sure, 2. We don't have cell connection right now, so we don't really know what the order of the 8-step program is.
I think step 2 is rent an RV. That's what it is.
Well, we don't need to do that because we have one.
Right.
Okay, to be clear, this is more of our wish list. We know we're not going to get all of these features in our next RV.
It's not going to happen. But the thing that's a little bit different for us is that if we don't get some of these or even a lot of these, there are a lot of things that I have the ability to change.
Right. James is handy and he has done a lot of mods to Lance and will have no trouble changing out a lot of the things we don't like in our next RV. And you kind of like that. It's one of your hobbies anyway. So it's okay if it's not perfect.
But as a for example, right, Lance has literally never seen the inside of an RV service center.
Yeah, in 5 years, we've never had to go to an RV dealership for any work because James does everything.
So some of these things where other people might balk at changing them, not a big deal for them. But there are some things that even I don't want to change.
Right.
And we'll get to those. So
let's see. So we've got our lists here.
Yeah. All right. So the first one is we want our next RV to be under 24 feet long.
Yeah, and that's been just to keep us mobile. We like to stay small so we can get to those remote places.
Yeah, and 24 feet I picked because even an extended Sprinter, we've driven the really long Sprinter.
Yeah.
That's a little too big feeling for me. I feel like at the back end, way out there. So
so I like that 24 feet because then we can stay under that. We can stay mobile, and it just gives us a guideline.
And that's going to cut down the number of available RVs dramatically.
Right.
Okay, so we mentioned the remote camping and also extreme weather conditions like snowshoeing and snow camping. Yeah. So I've got all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive would be nice. A bonus.
Yeah, Lance doesn't have those. He's front-wheel drive, which is also nice and makes him drive handy. But it would be great if we could have all-wheel or four-wheel. We'd be able to go a lot more places.
Yeah, but we're not going to go rock crawling or anything.
No, but just to get to the ski resort or something on a snowy day would be nice.
And so a little bit of clearance. Okay, this one is important to me because I've got it in all caps. No puzzle beds.
Yeah. So our first van was Das Bus, and Das Bus had a puzzle bed in the middle of the floor plan.
Huge bed.
Yeah, but it was either have a bed or have a way to get to the bathroom, and the dinette, it would transform into a dinette. And it got to be really hard to do, changing that puzzle bed every day, every night. We would get grumpy. There would be arguments.
Yes, and so that's the kind of thing that if you were just taking only weekend trips, might not be a big deal. Anyone can.
I don't know.
I grew
tired of it, but if there are coaches that people do it and can handle it, I just don't have the patience for it. So for us,
no puzzle
I don't
beds.
want a puzzle bed. You don't want a puzzle. I'm glad we're in agreement on that.
Yeah, that's all right. The next one I've got is dedicated indoor bike storage that is not in the way of anything else.
Yeah, so you can be able to sleep in it with the bikes in. You can get to the fridge, the bathroom. In Lance, you want to tell them how Lance is?
So in Lance, we have bikes. We could put two bikes in the back underneath the bed.
While we're sleeping.
And that's fine. We can still get to the bathroom. But they're in the way of my work. I can't get to my underpants when the bikes are in Lance. We've got to move the bikes, and then I can get underpants and then put the... So it's kind of a pain that way. What I'd really like is something like what we saw in Europe, where pretty much every RV we looked at in Europe had a dedicated garage, a walled-off space.
Yeah, those were fantastic. When we went to the Dusseldorf show, we saw tons of these. I guess they'd be Class Cs, but very tiny Class Cs because they weren't a true van. The walls were built by the RV manufacturing company, and they were able to put a garage under a bed in the back. And it's the same footprint as a van. But since they can use the walls kind of straight up more, you get a ton more room.
And since you don't have to worry about sawing a giant hole into the metal side of a van, you can build a garage like that. So I guess that brings, it doesn't have to be a van?
Right. No, it's not all about vans. I just want to stay mobile and small. I'm totally fine with a very compact Class C. We've been calling it the C- for years. But
so it doesn't have to be a van as long as it has the capabilities of a van that we are after. Remember, here we're just talking features. As long as it's got those features of being easily maneuverable, we can get it into a parking lot, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The van itself, the metal box, is not important versus a built box.
Well, and that goes into the insulation thing, because in a van, it's hard to get it fully insulated because you're working with what's there. But in a Class C,
they're building the walls.
Yeah, they're building the walls, and they can put tons of insulation on there everywhere. So it's going to be a lot more efficient for winter camping. So actually, that's a bonus for a Class C over a Class B.
Is it better insulated? Because they're built that way from the get-go.
Right.
And I have insulation in all aspects is a must. And
what do you mean?
Well, what I mean by that is 4-season capability. So like if the van is insulated, but the freshwater tank is outside, no go, right? And I can do a lot, but I don't want to move a freshwater tank.
Yeah.
Water lines, I don't want to have to move water lines inside. They should be inside. If there is a tank outside, it should just be a waste tank and it should be heated.
So all that comes with it, not just the insulation, but just 4-season capability all around.
Right, and that includes the windows, the dual pane acrylic windows. We have one tiny, maybe you can see it over the tiny window up top in Lance, is a dual pane acrylic window. It is the quietest, best insulated of any of the windows we have.
It's crazy how quiet it is when you shut that window and how you just can't hear anything outside it. So we really like those.
So we really might not get it. Remember, this is just a wish list.
Yeah.
The next item on our list, toilets.
Toilets. Well, yeah, but what is, so we don't really love any of the so there's compost, there's cassette, and then there's just a traditional RV toilet.
Yeah.
And they all have pros and cons, so I don't even know what I would choose for my wish list.
So we've had a composting toilet for the past 5 years.
Yep.
And it's done well with the things that we got it for, and that's the winter capability and the ability to kind of empty the liquids almost anywhere.
Don't need an RV dump. It doesn't take any water. There's a lot of pluses with it, but if you've seen our composting toilet video, you know there's a lot of cons with it.
Yeah, there's kind of some
We
cons.
don't want to rehash all that. You can go watch that video of ours and you'll learn everything you didn't want to know.
I'd like to have a regular RV toilet with a 100-gallon tank that I didn't have to dump.
But then winter camping gets more difficult because then you're dealing with water. So you have that challenge of keeping it warm and not letting it freeze.
Cassette toilet, we tried in Lance. We liked it in all ways. We've tried it more than once, actually.
Yeah.
Like 3 times now.
The Solus, when we traveled in Europe, we had one.
The only thing we didn't like about the cassette was the emptying.
Yeah.
A, it's frequent.
Like every 2 days, I'd say. Maybe
and B, it's
3.
gross.
Yeah, we learned if you use a ton of chemicals, it's fine. You can cut the smell that way from dumping it, but you're pouring open.
And you're exposed to the waste stream. So
I don't know what our toilet solution is. We're kind of open to all 3 right now.
Yeah, and the good news about the toilets, right? This is something that I could change. If we had a cassette and I couldn't stand it, we could go to a composting toilet pretty easy. Putting in a big black tank would be a little hard for me, but there we go. All right. Next, lithium, or the ability to add lithium batteries, an inverter, second alternator, etc.
The whole advanced battery system, we have it in Lance, and it would be you just can't go backwards once you have it.
It's really
Yesterday
tough.
It was like 95 degrees out here in the forest, and we were able to run the AC for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Which is great. It would be great if we had like triple the capacity.
We've got 7,000 watt hours.
Since we're dreaming, come on, let's go for 20,000 watt hours.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm on board.
let's put it on our list. Come
Totally
on,
20,000 watt hours. Even more battery than Lance. Totally on board. No generator, because if we've got that much battery, we should be able to manage.
Right.
We've been doing it for years now with Lance, with
Yeah.
1/3 the battery that you just said we wanted.
Well, and we do have a lot of neighbors around here, and generator
That would have been
consideration.
inconsiderate.
Yeah, to run it. So
Okay. Solar. I've got on here solar is just not a driving factor for us.
right. Well, especially since we're talking about such a huge lithium system.
Yeah, the amount of
Then-
solar that you can get on a coach. Remember that we want under 24 feet.
Right.
It's not like we can put an acre of solar panels up there.
Yeah.
The amount of solar we're going to be able to get isn't going to be the main way we charge our RV's batteries.
Yeah, yeah. And then so we already talked about no generator. So
And now we're getting into the work stuff. So
Okay.
I don't want a Wi-Fi booster or a cell booster pre-installed.
right. Well, they get outdated, and we'd like to just choose our own. But I do love what Winnebago's doing with those roof port boxes, where you can just put anything up on the roof without having to drill directly onto the roof yourself. So it
Yeah.
would be nice if it had some sort of access to the roof, but don't give us a Wi-Fi booster. Don't give us your cell booster. We want to pick our own and mount our own.
Yeah, and even if it didn't have the roof port, I mean, that's something I could do, right? I can install a Wi-Fi booster.
Yeah,
or
so
cell
that's
booster.
not going to make or break.
No, but it's a plus. If an RV has it, it's a bonus.
Yeah.
This is one I can't change. Separate areas for sleep and work.
Well, yeah, that's the marriage booster there. It keeps us married if we have separate spaces, because I like to sleep in and James doesn't sleep.
I sleep. Mel wakes up at 5. And he wants someone up with him
Yeah.
when he is up at 5,
Yeah.
and he has
And
chosen
you take
me.
one for the team. But anyway, yeah, we like that we have separate spaces where we can go in the RV just to be apart and do our own thing. So
Yeah.
it would be nice that the floor plan
Yeah,
does have that.
I can change a lot, but changing the
floor
basic floor
plan,
plan is going to be something I'm not going to tackle.
Yeah.
I have a proper table. This is another working from the road kind of thing. Don't give me a little cantilevered lagoon
Moving table.
I don't want a moving table.
Yeah, the table needs to be beefy and solid. When you're working at a computer for 8 hours straight, you don't want it to be moving at all, and you need it big to spread out.
And sometimes I even work while you're driving.
Yeah.
And so the less the table moves, the better that's going
Right.
to be. And so I need, that
good-
much table.
a good table.
But then I really like what we have in Lance, because there's an
too.
extra part of the table.
Yeah, it just pivots out, and that little extra bit is enough for me to work at too, because I'm also working with my online clients too, and so I can set up, and we both work from that same table. So something beefy like that, and if it had a separate table attachment, I would love it.
Or even a second table.
Yeah.
We wouldn't need the second table while we're driving.
Yeah,
but-
or a separate place for me to work as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's see.
so many things.
Yeah, our list is getting long. Induction. So we
Yeah.
have an induction cooktop in Lance that I installed.
Yeah.
And that's something I could install again, and they're not even, you can even get a portable one. It's pretty
Right,
easy to do.
right.
But once you've had an induction cooktop,
It's so nice. Like, we don't have the fire hazard. We are able to mount our water bottles right above it and even keep them there when the pots are boiling, because nothing's
coats
going to
hanging
burn.
right next to the burner.
Yeah,
They're
the
not going to
safety.
catch on fire.
Induction just heats up so quickly. It's just really convenient, and it would be hard to go back to a propane. But you've changed it before.
I could do it
and
again.
Yeah, that's not going to make or break which RV we choose.
But again, another thing that would be a plus in the
Yeah.
plus column. All right, a large non-absorption fridge, and I can go off on the absorption refrigeration, and I will. Not now.
Well, Lance came with an absorption fridge, and James did a mod where he replaced all the cabinets and that fridge in there. It became such a huge undertaking
5
just
videos
to change.
it
5
took.
videos. Yeah, you can go watch the whole process just to change out that fridge and rebuild all the cabinets. But the fridge was the hard part, getting that out.
But the fridge we have now.
It's so nice. It's huge. And I just shopped for this trip. I bought $350 worth of groceries, and they're all in there right now, and they are packed away because we have such wonderful pantry space.
Yeah,
the
pantry
fridge
and
is
fridge
huge.
I've got.
And so I would like to have that in our next RV
we
as
don't
well.
always buy $350 worth of stuff.
No, but it's 2020, so we're trying to avoid going into stores, and that's why I did it this time.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the large fridge, large pantry,
Yeah.
wardrobe space, separate wardrobes. One of us is very neat and folds their clothes.
Very neat.
And
Ridiculously neat.
One of us subscribes to the shove and slam method of packing a clothing cabinet.
Both work, but it's nice that we each have our own wardrobes. And we have 6 drawers too. So I get 3 and he gets 3.
I get 2 and Mel gets 1.
Well, yeah. So maybe in our next coach we could
7 drawers.
7 drawers, but you could have 3, I get 3, because we're dreaming here. We're dreaming. But we like having that separation of space for our stuff too. So 2 wardrobes.
But the cat drawer brings up a good point, and that it'd be great. There needs to be room for the cat stuff, right? There needs to be some place where we can put a litter box where we're not going to trip over it, where we don't have to move it every time someone has to go to the bathroom.
Well, and going back to that C- coach we told you we saw in Europe, which had the garage under the bed, if there could be a pass-through into a garage space, Mel could have his litter box in that area, and then it's totally out of our way. And how convenient would that be?
It would be so convenient, I would forget to empty it. Okay. Sea level tank monitors.
Oh, yes, we love
this.
Those.
Is one, I could change this if I wanted to, but it would be better if I didn't have to.
Right.
So in your RV, you ever do that game where you're like, okay, well, it says I've got a half full black tank. Is that 3/8?
Over half full?
Is that
under?
3/8, almost a quarter?
Or 1/3 full. Does that mean I'm almost empty, or am I just over 1/3? So it
says full, but I'm still flushing.
So it's kind of a guessing game with those other monitors, and they drive us crazy. So in Lance and our last van, I like to take credit too. James replaced our monitors with the sea level, which give you an actual number, 65% full, 38% full. So there's no guessing game with the sea level monitor. So hopefully the next coach will come with that, but that's something you could just change out too.
I could, unless there was something weird, like, unless one of the tanks was sealed away in some way that I could not get access to it to attach the monitor,
Oh, interesting. So that's why you put it on
the
list.
It needs to be amenable to being retrofitted.
Okay,
I can reuse the wiring. I've just got to get physical access to the tank at some point.
I get it.
Okay, TV entertainment system. I've got a big prefer without.
Yeah, the TV entertainment systems, because we're going small, they just take up space, which we could otherwise use for storage. And those kinds of things get outdated
very quickly.
And if we're going to keep this one a long time, which I hope we will, then I would like to see just nothing, and then we can just bring our own TV. We can add our own. Yeah, if we want to watch something, we'll just watch on our devices.
Or set up a Wi-Fi streaming setup.
So hopefully it'll come with none of that, and we can just add our own.
Okay. I've got quiet, preferably, this is all caps, you must have had influence here, preferably ducted air conditioning.
Yes, I did.
We spent the past 5 years sleeping 18 inches from the air conditioner.
And because of that, we have had like 4 different air conditioners we have tried out in that space, seeking quiet.
It's the fourth.
Yeah, and so one of us really likes air conditioning, and the other really likes peace and quiet.
I own it. I'm a wuss.
Yeah, and when I lose that battle, I've got earplugs in the RV, a huge case of them in the RV that I wear on air conditioner nights. But it would be so nice if we had ducted air,
it's
and
quieter.
I didn't have to wear earplugs, or he didn't have to sweat, and we could both be happy.
Yeah, so the ducted air conditioning, it's quieter because there's not a hurricane force fan in one spot. Also, it helps even out the temperature in different parts of the fan. Instead of all the cold air blowing there, it can be blown to the front, it can be blown to the back. You just open the vents where you want it. So ducted AC, quieter, better, and I guess that is probably also leaning us towards a Class C, because you can't.
They're
really
usually
do that.
ducted, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're usually
you can't do that so much in a metal van.
And again, it comes to the way they're built. A Class C, the RV manufacturer's building those walls so they can put in the space.
They put the ducts. They build the ducts right into the ceiling. It's fantastic.
Okay, now I got one. I've got a feature that I would like to not have, and that's picture of wood. And like the RVs, they tend to come with that fake wood. What do you call that?
It's a laminate.
Laminate.
On a
so here's my
thermoform.
thing with that. Like, we have a home already, and I don't want my RV to also have to mimic looking like a home. I want the RV to be separate from the home. So I'm okay if it's sporty or edgy looking or adventurous looking and has no brown. I would be totally
And you
fine
can tell
with
us by
that.
some of the mods we've done. Like we've sanded off the picture of wood in a number of places and
Painted yellow to
Yeah.
match the outside. We wouldn't do that in our house.
some
but-
of the doors in the front of the fridge, that's carbon fiber.
Yeah,
Throw-
just go with
throw
our
back to the
bike
cycling
theme. Yeah, so we're trying to make it more fun and not look like a house. So hopefully our next coach will come like that, but if not, we can do some of that ourselves.
I'm okay with no pictures of wood. Totally done
Okay,
with that.
okay.
Here's one that I've got that you're probably gonna poo-poo on, but a 7-pin wiring harness for the
Oh,
trailer. So
no.
the RV is gonna come with a trailer hitch, right?
Well, I don't want to have to tow, so that's why he's saying I'm not
Agreed.
going to like it, because the reason I'm ready to get rid of Lance is because I'm so tired
He's right
of
there.
I'm so tired of having to tow the trailer. That trailer is so tiny it doesn't back up well, and we have to really think through where we're going when we're towing the trailer, and I'm just tired of towing.
Sometimes I have to jump out and unhook it and muscle it around so we can actually get into our spot, and then we're always worried that we're blocking
Yeah.
the campground alley. So, but if it's gonna have a trailer hitch, if we ever did have to tow a trailer, I would want 7-pin wiring harness. That's what our trailer takes.
Well, I disagree. I'd rather have no hitch, so we don't even have the option. I want no option to tow.
No. I want the option. I want a 7-pin. But
Well,
anyway.
we pick our battles.
All right. 360 siphon vents.
Yeah.
Very specific.
And
want.
okay, so when we got Lance, the very first day when we were driving back from Iowa to Utah, we quickly learned that 360 siphon vents are very important.
So what that is, for those of you who don't know, normally you have a vent on your gray tank or black tank, and it terminates on the roof of your vehicle with a little cap on it.
Yeah.
And what we found is that at highway speeds, in certain conditions, that air would actually be forced up into that cap, down through the composting toilet and its contents.
Into you.
Into the van.
So James, I was in a car because we had just picked up
Yeah, this
the
is just
van.
all my suffering here.
James was driving the new van, and it smelled like such a sewer in there when we would stop. I felt so bad for you. When we got home,
Not bad enough to switch drivers.
when we got home, we immediately ordered, or maybe even on the road still then, you ordered
Yeah.
the 360 siphon vent, and he put it on instantly, and now we will never have a coach without a 360 siphon
That's
vent.
kind of a big deal for. But again, that's one I can change if it
Right.
doesn't. I'm not going to not buy something because
Yeah.
of the vents.
Mm-hmm.
Leveling system.
Oh.
This
Yeah.
is we're probably not going to get this in a coach, but since this is our dream list, the smaller coaches, the big Class A's and stuff, they usually come with like some sort of leveling system.
Right.
Smaller coaches, like or a
Don't.
van,
Yeah.
don't. We have had one added.
Yeah,
and,
at
oh
great
my.
expense. They're thousands of dollars to have added.
Yeah. But we use the heck out of it because I'm a freak about being level. I'm a little bit particular about a couple things. What was that?
I was just agreeing.
Yeah, you were
very much.
mouthing. Anyway, I really am. But I enjoy being able to put an egg on the counter and not have it roll off, or to open the refrigerator door and not have it smack into me because the van's on level.
I could take or leave the whole level thing, but as far as from a fitness standpoint, being level for sleeping, there is research that shows level does make you sleep better and deeper. And
Even head slightly elevated is what I prefer.
Yes, and that's fine too, but just not on a side hill. And especially at our age, we need our deep sleep for that growth hormone release phase. I'm going into my trainer mode here.
But I
so
don't sleep.
that's why I'm on board with the leveling system, is just for the health aspect of it.
Yeah. So, but we realize we probably aren't going to get that, but it's something that can be added. We've done it before, we can
as
do it
long as
again.
there's room to add it under the coach, so we'd have to check on that.
Yep. And then along that same line, air suspension.
Yeah.
So let's be clear, this is not an inexpensive thing that we've done, but we have VB air suspension added to Lance.
Yeah, it's nothing like sumo springs.
No, it's actual airbags in the back with a
Yes,
with a,
very involved addition, thousands of dollars.
But we have driven lots of other RVs and ProMasters even that do not have the air suspension. And when we had Parky for that 9 months
another
or so,
Travado.
and we would actually get it when we had to take both We would get in
Vans.
arguments over who got to drive
Yeah.
Lance.
Yeah, I won most of the time because Lance is such a joy to drive, and it's that VB air suspension. It's, ProMasters aren't hard to drive anyway.
They're
but
not.
Add that air suspension, and it's just like butter going along. It handles so well.
Yeah,
So
if you had
we're
the opportunity
spoiled.
to drive Lance, you would know. You're like, whoa, I want that for a
Yeah.
drive.
And it's another one of those things we did that's going to be hard to go backwards. So.
Yeah. And then the last one I've got on here is I want a permanent hardwired surge suppressor. That's another one that I can do, and it's not even really all that expensive.
Did you just add that because of the thunderstorm 2 nights ago at the RV park?
It saved our bacon.
Yeah, I guess
So
it did.
there was a thunderstorm at the RV park we were staying at 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
Rain, and then we noticed the power clicked off and clicked on. And I actually went and read the error codes later, and it had saved us from a spike.
Oh,
So
wow. So, yeah, that's a good thing to have. But again, a thing we can add later.
we can add that. That was not too bad.
So, as you can see, that's kind of our list, but we admit we're kind of weak people. Here we are. We want AC. We want lithium so we can run our AC for 9 hours. We admit and own that we are
the
weak
cat
people.
needs his own drawer and his own bathroom.
We're not very good at roughing it, and we know our list is probably not the same as your list, but
These are the things that we want. And so now the next step, and we're going to do this in another video because this is already too long.
Yeah.
But the next step is to take that list of features that we've just got
Yeah.
and to put them in order.
yeah, of importance.
So-
what are the deal breakers that we must have, and what are things you can change? And so we've got a lot of conversations coming
Yeah.
about that, but we're going to take you along for the ride as we go through this whole purchase process.
Yep. The next step is paired comparisons. Like, would you rather A or B?
Yeah.
It's like, would you rather watch a Star Trek marathon or a Star Wars marathon?
Ooh, I Star Trek for me, definitely. Star Trek.
Okay, see, but it's those kinds of questions that we're going to be asking, and at the end of that, we'll have a list with features, and that will form the basis of our shopping list.
All right, so that's where we are. That's our thoughts so far.
Don't tell Lance.
It's our secret.
All right, we'll see you later. Bye now. Mel,